It all started last week, on a quiet evening when I was scrolling through my phone. My storage was full, so I began the tedious task of deleting old photos. But then something caught my eye. A photo album titled Sleep Well, one I didn't remember creating, appeared on the screen. The creation date was from the night before, just hours earlier. A cold shiver ran down my spine as I opened it. Inside was a picture of me, taken while I slept, vulnerable, unaware. The angle of the shot was disturbingly specific, as if the photographer had been hiding just out of view. Their presence felt only in the eerie stillness of the moment. The most disturbing detail? The picture was taken from inside my closet. I live alone. My heart dropped. I could feel the color draining from my face as a heavy pressure squeezed my chest. I was being watched. My eyes instantly darted toward the closet. As I trembled in fear, I wondered, was someone inside it? I don't know. I was too scared to look. In a panic, I immediately grabbed my car keys from beside the bed, rushed to the front door, and drove straight to the police. I arrived at the police station, feeling a strange sense of relief just for making it there. I told them everything that happened and showed the picture. The officers listened, then agreed to send someone to search my house. They searched every inch, closets, drawers, windows, nothing. No signs of break-ins, no clues that anyone had been there. The police told me to change my locks, install security cameras, and keep in touch in case something else happened. But it didn't feel like enough. I was terrified. The idea of someone watching me, of someone being inside my closet, haunted me. That night I opened the closet fully, convinced that if I could see inside, I could rid myself of the fear. But something felt off. I could still feel the presence, like someone was right there, just beyond my sight. The weight of paranoia suffocated me. Unable to sleep, I went to the kitchen to make something to eat. I called my friend Melissa and told her what happened, with my voice shaking. I made myself some popcorn and went back upstairs to my room. Still talking to her, trying to sound calm, I noticed something wrong. I stopped mid-sentence. My breath hitched. The closet door that I had left wide open was now closed, but not fully. There was a slight gap, a narrow sliver, just enough for me to know that someone or something was inside. I couldn't see who or what, but I could feel it. The pressure of being watched. My eyes locked on the gap, heart hammering in my chest. Then I saw it, a single wide eye staring back at me from the darkness. My voice trembled as I spoke. "Hello, are you still there?" Melissa asked, confused by my sudden silence. I couldn't answer. My body was frozen. Someone was inside the closet. I was sure of it. I slowly pulled my bedroom door shut, my hands shaking as I gripped the doorknob. I locked it. Then, with my heart racing, I ran outside and called the police as I stood in my yard, too terrified to go back in. When the officer arrived, I rushed to explain. "I locked them in my room, I swear. They're in the closet. They were watching me." The officers moved quickly, their hands steady, trained. They entered my room, opened the closet door, and nothing. No one. The closet was empty. There was nowhere for anyone to hide. The room was on the second floor, with windows secured by metal bars. No exit, no secret passage. The officer returned to me, his face tight with frustration, his politeness wearing thin. "Ma'am, I know you're scared, but you can't call us every time you forget you closed your closet door. Be sure to only call us when you're certain it's an emergency. I suggest you sleep somewhere else until you've recovered from this panic." "What, are you sure you searched everything?" "They must have escaped," I said, my voice trembling with remorse and disbelief. I felt the walls closing in. How could they have missed something? How could they not see it? "As I said, the house is empty." The officer replied, his tone cold and dismissive. I felt my frustration growing. This wasn't right. There was someone there. I couldn't shake the feeling, the cold certainty gnawing at me. No, you have to believe me. There was someone in there. "I locked the door, I swear." "There's no way they could have gone anywhere. My house is locked down. Please search again," I insisted, my voice rising in desperation. The officer gave me a long look, clearly fed up. "Ma'am, we've been over this. The house is empty. Nothing's here. I suggest you take a step back and calm down. We can't keep coming back every time you think someone's in your closet." His words hit me like a slap, each one a cold dismissal of everything I had experienced. I stared at him, fighting to hold back tears, but I saw them. I saw their eye. "Get some rest," He cut me off, turning on his heel. "We're done here." Reluctantly, I followed the officer's advice and went to sleep at Melissa's house. She's my best friend, and being with her felt like the only place I could be safe. At least for that night. Melissa tried to lighten the mood, but I could hear the nervousness in her voice. "Are you sure this picture isn't just some joke from someone messing with your head?" I forced a weak laugh, but it was hollow. "No, I'm sure about what I saw. There's someone watching me." I didn't want to talk much. My mind was racing, but the words wouldn't come. I hadn't been able to explain it properly to the police, and now I couldn't explain it to her. The fear was too real. Melissa's husband was out of town, so I ended up sleeping next to her. I was too scared to sleep alone. That night I finally felt a little safer, a little less alone. The next morning, things felt better. Being with my closest friend gave me a sense of comfort. I ate breakfast, tried to distract myself, but there was one thing I couldn't shake. The picture. I had to know. I had to see it again. Melissa asked, "Can you show me the picture again?" I didn't want to look at it, but I opened my gallery anyway. I could feel my heart thudding in my chest. I stared at the album for a moment before clicking on it. My stomach dropped. There was another picture in the album. A new one. I zoomed in. I couldn't believe it. It was a picture of me, but this time I wasn't alone. Melissa was lying beside me just like the night before, but the perspective was wrong. It was too close. Whoever took the picture was right next to us. And in their hand they were holding something, a rag doll. The doll looked just like me. The same dark hair, the same clothes, the exact same features. Even the expression on its face mirrored mine. The doll was lying in the same position I was, as if it had been placed there beside me, sleeping. In the background, I saw the shadow of who took the picture. My heart stopped. My hands shook as I dropped the phone. The safety I had felt with Melissa was gone. All that comfort I had wrapped myself in vanished, replaced with a cold, suffocating fear. I wasn't safe. I wasn't safe anywhere. Melissa tried to calm me down, but it wasn't working. My panic was too overwhelming, and she could see that I was shaking, unable to catch my breath. Desperate to understand what was happening, she quickly reached down and grabbed my phone from the floor. Her fingers trembled as she opened the photo album, her eyes scanning the picture I had just shown her. Okay, this doesn't make any sense," she muttered, her voice tight with confusion. She looked at me, then back at the photo. Her brow furrowed as she tried to make sense of it, but there was a flicker of doubt in her eyes. "Are you sure this isn't just some sick prank? Something someone's been sending you? Maybe an ex or someone you know?" I shook my head, my voice barely a whisper. "No, Melissa, I swear it's not a prank. This is real. Someone's in my life, and they're watching me." Her expression faltered for a moment, and I saw her hesitate, her eyes darting nervously around the room as if she could feel the weight of something watching her too. Slowly, she handed the phone back to me, but this time, I noticed her hand was shaking. "Do you think they could be here too? In my house?" she asked quietly, her voice laced with a hint of fear. I swallowed hard, my own breath catching in my throat. I don't know, but I don't feel safe anymore. I don't think I'm safe anywhere." Melissa's eyes widened slightly, and she stood up from the bed, looking around the room. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I don't know. I heard some noises last night, but I thought it was just the house settling. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to worry you." The fear in her eyes mirrored my own. For the first time, I realized I wasn't the only one feeling watched. I think we need to check the house just in case," she said, her voice trembling as she grabbed her phone, preparing to call someone for help. Her eyes were wide, her body tense as she waited for my response. Melissa looked at me, her face pale with concern. "We need to go to the police," she said, her voice firm despite the obvious fear in her eyes. "You can't keep dealing with this alone. If someone's really doing this to you, they need to know." I shook my head, a knot of anxiety forming in my chest. "The police won't believe me, Melissa. I've already been there. They searched my house and found nothing. They said I'm just imagining things. They don't take me seriously." Melissa's face softened, but her voice remained steady as she reached for my hand. "No, this time it's different. We have proof, remember?" She looked at the photo on my phone, her eyes scanning it once more before locking with mine. "They can't just ignore that." I hesitated. The memory of the police officer dismissing me echoed in my mind. But Melissa was right. We had proof, and I couldn't just let this go. "All right," I said, voice barely above a whisper. "But if they don't believe me again, we'll make them believe you," she said, determination in her tone. "We'll show them the photo, everything. We have to do something." I arrived at the police station, feeling a mix of dread and urgency. As soon as I walked in, I saw the same officer from the night before. When he saw me, his face immediately twisted into a scowl. He was not happy to see me again. He didn't even bother to greet me. "You again?" he muttered under his breath, rolling his eyes. "Officer, we need your help," I started, holding my phone up with the picture. "Please, I'm telling you, someone's been taking pictures of me while I sleep." He glanced at the photo, his patience already running thin. "You're still going on about this?" He rubbed his forehead, clearly annoyed. "I already told you. There's no sign of a break-in, no evidence of anyone being inside your house. What do you want me to do, investigate every closet in the city?" I could feel the knot of fear tightening in my chest as I desperately tried to explain. "But you don't understand. This picture, it's not just a prank. Someone's still watching me." Melissa, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "We don't have any more evidence, but we've checked everything. The house is empty, but she's still seeing things. This picture..." The officer cut her off with a harsh wave of his hand. "Enough with the photo," he snapped, clearly not believing either of us. "I've already done my part. If you two are gonna waste my time, I suggest you find another way to deal with this." He took a deep breath, then sighed in frustration, clearly not wanting to deal with this anymore. "All right," he said. "I'll go to your place and search your house again, but don't expect me to find anything." The officer came with us, walking into Melissa's house like it was just another job. He searched every room with annoyance, even though we had already checked everything ourselves. We stood in the living room, the tension growing as we waited for him to come out. When he finally emerged from the last room, his face was contorted with anger. "There's nothing here," he said sharply. "No sign of a break-in. No one's been here, so stop wasting my time." I couldn't hold it in anymore. "But the closet, someone was in there. They're still watching me. Please, you have to understand, I'm not making this up." He shot me an angry look, his voice turning cold. "I've been through your house and I haven't found a damn thing. You really think I've got time for some prank? Some sick joke? You two think this is funny?" Melissa and I exchanged a look, both of us trying to process the officer's words. My heart sank as I realized the officer was done taking us seriously. "This is ridiculous," he said, his voice laced with frustration. "I'm not going to keep playing along with this. No more emergency calls. You two should find a way to get some rest instead of dragging me into your delusions." He turned and walked toward the door, leaving us standing in the middle of the room, shocked and speechless. The door slammed behind him with a finality that made my whole body tense up. Melissa just stood there, her face pale, her eyes wide with disbelief. Silence. Complete silence filled the room as Melissa and I stood there in disbelief. "Please, I need to go home. It's watching me, not you. Me being here is just putting you in danger," I said, with my eyes welling up with tears. "Are you crazy? I'm not letting you go anywhere until we catch this motherfucker. You're my best friend, I love you, and I'll go through hell to help you," Melissa said, hugging me tightly. Her words were comforting, but fear still consumed me. I honestly didn't know what I would do without her. "I'm not sleeping tonight," I said, my voice firm. "But remember, you have work tomorrow," Melissa reminded me. "Work? How could I possibly work and pretend like nothing happened after everything I'd experienced?" The fear was slowly turning into anger. I spent the whole day thinking about what happened, feeling like I was being watched everywhere I went. Melissa called her boss and told them she was sick so she could stay with me. I fucking love her. We spent the entire day coming up with theories about what was going on. Maybe whatever was watching me wasn't human? Nah, I don't believe in supernatural stuff, but Melissa kept insisting. Nighttime came. As I said, I refused to sleep. Even if I wanted to, I don't think I could. But Melissa couldn't stay awake for long. I felt exposed with her asleep, but I wasn't about to wake her up. I just had to stay awake. And that's exactly what I did. Hours passed and nothing happened. The only thing I could hear was Melissa's soft snoring, but time felt agonizingly slow, and my fear only grew. 3 a.m. The so-called haunted hour that makes both adults and children alike dread what might happen next. Even though I didn't believe in supernatural things, when I saw 3 on the clock, my heart sank. I was expecting something, some noise, a reflection, a doll, or the most disturbing thing I could imagine. But nothing happened. 20 minutes went by, and I started to feel extremely sleepy. But I knew as soon as I slept I wouldn't be safe anymore. I glanced at Melissa. Something felt off. She wasn't snoring anymore. She had turned to the other side, and I could only see her brown hair splayed across the pillow. I froze. Something about her posture made me uneasy. I had never seen her sleep like that before. Slowly, I sat up, my heart racing in my chest. I lifted my head and cautiously leaned forward to see if she was awake. But when I looked, my blood ran cold. What I saw was not my best friend anymore. There in front of me was a body. The skin was unnaturally pale, the once vibrant brown hair now a tangled mess. Her mouth hung slightly open, and her eyes, those eyes that I knew so well, were wide open but lifeless, glazed over with an unsettling emptiness. The way her limbs were arranged, twisted unnaturally at odd angles, told me she hadn't just fallen asleep. No, something had happened to her. I wanted to scream. My throat closed up. I reached out and desperately shook her, calling her name, trying to wake her, but there was no response. Her body was cold, stiff. I tried again, harder this time. Nothing. No breath. No movement. Melissa was dead. Panic surged through my veins, my vision blurry with tears. I fumbled for my phone, trying to dial emergency services, but just as my fingers brushed the screen, something stopped me. An airdrop request flashed across the top of my phone. My heart dropped. I hesitated, staring at the screen, the dread tightening in my chest. I wanted to deny the request, to throw my phone away, to make it all stop, but I couldn't. My mind screamed at me to say no, but my hand moved on its own. I accepted. A flood of pictures appeared on my phone, and my stomach twisted. The images were of me, sleeping. Dozens of them, hundreds maybe, scattered over weeks. Some were taken inside my closet. Others were shots of me lying in my bed, blissfully unaware. But what made my blood run even colder were the ones that came after. There was a picture of me, sleeping beside something on the bed. It looked like the same doll I had seen before, but this time, it felt different, wrong. It wasn't just a doll anymore, it was me, or something that had been made to look like me in doll form, lying beside me. The most disturbing part? The shadow of someone standing just behind it, watching, waiting. I couldn't move. The air around me grew thick, suffocating, and then through the crack in the door I saw it. A figure, tall and unnervingly still. It was standing there as if waiting, watching. But the most terrifying part was the eye. That single wide eye staring directly at me from the shadows. It was unnatural. Too large, too black. No light reflected off of it. It was like a hole in the world, a deep, endless void that seemed to pull every ounce of warmth and life from the room. The eye twitched, just slightly, as if it recognized me. Like it had been waiting for me to look. And in its other hand, the doll. But it wasn't just any doll. The doll was me. I recognized the face immediately. Its pale skin, the dark hair, the same expression I often wore when I slept. But it was wrong. The doll's eyes were wide open, fixed in a grotesque stare, its mouth frozen in a twisted, silent scream. Its body, rigid and contorted in a way that a human body never could be, seemed to mock me, like an unnatural imitation of myself. The figure held it with such tenderness, as if cradling it, but there was something deeply disturbing in the way it did. The doll's hand was positioned just like mine when I slept, but there was no softness to it, no warmth. And then, the figure stepped forward, the eye never leaving mine. The room grew colder, and the figure moved silently, like a shadow creeping closer, carrying the doll as if it were the most precious thing in the world. I felt the terror clawing at me, suffocating me, but I couldn't look away from that horrible, hollow eye. It was as if it was looking through me. And the more I stared, the more I felt like I was becoming part of its dark, empty world. I could feel my body shutting down, my heart thundering in my chest as if it was trying to escape my ribs. My hands were shaking uncontrollably, my breathing shallow and erratic. My limbs felt weak like they were made of stone, and my vision started to blur around the edges. The air felt like it was closing in, pressing against me from all sides, and the figure, the eye, was all I could see. I could hear the blood rushing in my ears, louder and louder, drowning everything else out, until the sound was all-consuming. And then, just as I thought I couldn't take it anymore, everything went black. I'm currently writing this on a contraband cell phone in prison, after allegedly poisoning my best friend. It's all a lie, of course. They say I did it, but they don't understand. They don't know what I saw, what really happened. Melissa is gone. I can still feel the weight of that truth crushing me. I can still hear her laugh, see her smile, feel her presence beside me like I always did. I feel the coldness now. It's unbearable. Losing her, it's like losing a part of myself. The world feels hollow, like it's spinning around me without any meaning. The grief is suffocating, but the worst part isn't the grief. It's the frustration, the anger bubbling inside me. They think I did it. They think I'm the one who poisoned her. They don't see how broken I am, how lost I feel. They don't understand that I would never hurt her. I would never do something like that. But it doesn't matter what I say. They have their own version of the truth, and now they've locked me away for something I didn't do. They'll never know what really happened. They'll never know what I saw in that room, what I saw in her eyes before everything turned dark. I couldn't escape before. Now I certainly can't. They've got me here in this cold metal cage, but maybe I can. There's still one thing I can do. I'm the only one who can put an end to this, to everything. The figure is still watching me, I can feel it. That same eye, always lurking, always waiting. Still out there, haunting me. I thought maybe, just maybe, being locked up would give me a break from the constant fear. But no, it follows me. It's always watching. I don't know how long I can keep going, how long I can pretend that I'm okay. I can't take it anymore. The nightmares, the paranoia, the guilt, they all blur together. I miss Melissa. I miss her so much. I love you, Melissa. I always will. I can't wait to join you.